The text came through at 3:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. Family dinner tonight, 7 p.m. sharp. Important family matter to discuss. Don't be late. Dad. I stared at my phone in the middle of the coffee shop, a half smile playing at my lips. It had been 8 months since I'd heard from any of them. 8 months since my college graduation ceremony, where I'd walked across that stage alone, scanning the audience for faces that never appeared. My older sister, Amanda, had texted the morning of, "Can't make it. Jackson has a soccer tournament. You understand." My younger brother, Kevin, didn't even bother with an excuse. Just silence. Mom's message came 2 hours before the ceremony. "Your father isn't feeling well. We'll celebrate another time, sweetie." But Dad had been well enough to attend Kevin's community college orientation that same weekend. I'd seen the photos on Facebook. Now, suddenly, there was an important family matter. I knew exactly what had changed. Yesterday morning, the Metro Real Estate Journal had published its annual Rising Stars in Property Development feature. My face was on page 3, standing in front of the building I'd quietly purchased 18 months ago. The headline read, "28-year-old developer transforms historic Riverside building into luxury residences. Penthouse sells for record $2.8 million. The article detailed how I bought the neglected 12-story building for $4.2 million, oversaw its complete renovation, and sold off 10 luxury condos while keeping the crown jewel penthouse for myself. My company, Meridian Property Group, had just been valued at $47 million. The article went viral in our city's business community. By noon, my phone had exploded with messages from distant relatives, old family friends, and people I barely remembered from high school. And now, Dad wanted dinner. I texted back, "I'll be there." I pulled up to my parents' house at exactly 7 p.m. in my modest Honda Civic. I bought a Tesla 6 months ago, but I drove the Civic to family events. Old habits. The driveway was packed. Amanda's Range Rover, Kevin's lifted truck, even Uncle Richard's Mercedes. That meant this was bigger than just immediate family. I grabbed my leather portfolio from the passenger seat and walked to the door. It opened before I could knock. "There she is," Dad's voice boomed with artificial warmth. Come in, we've been waiting." The dining room table was set for 8. Mom, Dad, Amanda and her husband Jackson, Kevin and his girlfriend Brittany, and Uncle Richard with Aunt Susan. Everyone turned to look at me as I entered. "Sarah!" Mom rushed over, pulling me into a hug that felt rehearsed. "We've missed you so much, honey. You look wonderful." "Do I?" I kept my voice neutral. "Last time we spoke, you said I looked tired and stressed from working too much." Mom's smile flickered. "Well, you look much better now. Sit. Dad gestured to an empty chair. "We have so much to catch up on." I remained standing. "Your text said this was about an important family matter. What's going on?" "Let's eat first," Dad said, but his eyes were sharp, calculating. "Then we'll talk business." "Business," I repeated slowly. Interesting choice of words. Amanda set down her wineglass. "We saw the article, Sarah. Congratulations on your success." The pause before success was deliberate, loaded with something I couldn't quite name. Skepticism? Resentment? "Thank you." $2.8 million for a penthouse, Uncle Richard whistled low. "That's quite an achievement for someone so young. Your father was just telling us about your company." "Was he?" I looked at Dad. "That's fascinating, considering he's never asked me about it." The room went quiet. Kevin broke the silence. "Come on, sis, don't be dramatic. We're family. We're proud of you." "You're proud now," I said quietly. "Where was that pride 8 months ago?" "Oh, honey," Mom's voice took on that patronizing tone I knew so well. "You're not still upset about graduation, are you? We explained. Dad wasn't feeling well." "Yes, I remember. I also remember the photos from Kevin's orientation that same weekend. He looked perfectly healthy." Kevin had the decency to look away.
"That's not fair," Amanda cut in. Jackson's tournament was scheduled months in advance. We couldn't just skip it. I cut her off. Let's skip the part where you all pretend you care and get to why I'm really here. Dad's jovial mask slipped. Fine. You want to talk business? Let's talk business. Richard and I have been discussing an investment opportunity, a development project in the warehouse district. We need $800,000 for our share of the partnership. And you want me to invest? We want to bring you in as a partner, Uncle Richard corrected smoothly. Family, working together. Your father and I have 40 years of business experience combined. You have capital. It's a perfect match. I almost laughed. I have capital. That's what I am to you. Capital. Don't twist my words, Dad's voice hardened. We're offering you an opportunity here, a chance to learn from people who actually know what they're doing. People who know what they're doing, I repeated. Tell me, Dad, how much is your company worth right now? His jaw tightened. We've had some rough years. The market. Your company is worth $3.2 million and it's dropping. I looked at the public filings. You've lost money 3 years running. I turned to Uncle Richard. And your commercial real estate firm? You're over-leveraged on 4 properties, and 2 are in foreclosure proceedings. Uncle Richard's face flushed red. How dare you? I do my research, I said evenly. It's why my company is valued at $47 million after 3 years, while yours are both failing. This is exactly why we didn't come to your graduation, Amanda snapped. You've always been arrogant, always thought you were smarter than everyone. No, I said softly. I just actually am smarter than you. There's a difference. Jackson stood up. You don't talk to my wife like that. Sit down, Jackson. I didn't even look at him. The adults are talking. That's enough. Dad slammed his hand on the table. I am still your father, and you will show respect in this house. Respect? The word felt sharp in my mouth. The respect you showed when you skipped the biggest day of my life? Or the respect you showed when you told everyone at Christmas 2 years ago that I was playing at business and needed to get a real job? Mom's voice was small. We never said that. Yes, you did. I was standing right outside the kitchen. You also said I'd be crawling back, begging for help within a year. The silence that followed was deafening. Well, Kevin tried to joke, you proved us wrong, right? So why are you still mad? I looked at my baby brother, who'd always gotten everything handed to him. Because you don't get to ignore me when I'm struggling and then show up when I succeed. That's not how family works. We're here now, isn't that what matters? No, it isn't. I opened my portfolio and pulled out a folder. Let me tell you what actually matters. 2 years ago, when I started Meridian Property Group, I worked 16-hour days. I lived in a studio apartment with broken heating. I ate ramen for dinner most nights. I called Dad once to ask for business advice. Just advice. Do you remember what you said? Dad said nothing. You said I was wasting my time, that real estate development wasn't for girls who didn't understand the industry. You told me to get a job in marketing or HR. I pulled out another paper. Mom, I invited you to see my first property acquisition, a small duplex in the Old Town district. You said you were too busy with Amanda's baby shower planning. Mom's eyes were glistening, but I wasn't done. Amanda, when I asked if you wanted to grab coffee and hear about my business, you told me you didn't have time for my little hobby. My sister was staring at her plate. And Kevin, when I offered you a paid internship at my company last summer, you laughed and said you'd rather work at Target than at my fake company. I spread the papers across the table. Financial statements, property deeds, business valuations. So no, I'm not going to invest $800,000 in your failing warehouse project. I'm not going to be your bailout plan, and I'm not going to pretend that 8 months of silence didn't happen just because you saw my picture in a magazine.
Sarah, Dad started. I'm not finished. My voice was still now. I bought the Riverside building 18 months ago. The article mentioned I kept the penthouse, But it didn't mention that I own the entire building, all 12 floors, 10 luxury condos, and 2 commercial spaces. I pulled out the final document, the property deed. The building is worth $18.7 million now. I have a waiting list of 50 people who want to buy in when I develop the next phase. I looked directly at Dad. I did that alone, without your advice, without your experience, without your respect. Uncle Richard's voice was quiet. Sarah, we made mistakes. We can admit that. But we're family. Family forgives. Family shows up, I countered. Family supports each other. Family doesn't disappear when things are hard and reappear when things are profitable. I closed my portfolio. I came here tonight because I wanted to see if any of you would apologize, if any of you would acknowledge what you did. But all I heard was a business pitch and excuses. I turned to leave. Wait, Mom's voice cracked. Please, we're sorry. We really are. We made terrible mistakes and we want to make it right. I paused at the doorway for a moment. I wanted to believe her. The little girl inside me, the one who waited for her family in that graduation audience, wanted so badly to believe. But then Dad spoke. Your mother's right. We handled things poorly, but this attitude isn't helping anyone. If you just listen to our proposal. And there it was. Even the apology came with a but and a business proposal. Goodbye, I said quietly. As I reached for the door handle, it opened from the outside. A man in a suit stood there, looking confused. I'm sorry, I'm looking for Sarah Mitchell. I'm David Torres from Metro Property Management. Miss Mitchell asked me to meet her here at 7:30. I smiled. I hadn't actually called David, but the universe had perfect timing. I'm Sarah Mitchell. David's face lit up. Miss Mitchell, perfect. I have the documents you requested about the property acquisition. He pulled out a folder. The sellers have accepted your offer on the Riverside Commercial Plaza. Congratulations, you now own the largest retail complex in the Riverside district. Behind me, I heard multiple sharp intakes of breath. The $34 million purchase. The financing came through perfectly. You'll officially close next week. I took the folder. Thank you, David. I'll review these tonight. Of course. Oh, and the Tribune wants to do a follow-up feature. They're calling you the youngest major commercial developer in the state. You're going to be famous. As David left, I turned back to my family one last time. Dad's face was ashen. Amanda's mouth hung open. Kevin looked like he'd been punched. Uncle Richard was frantically calculating numbers on his phone. Mom was crying silently.
$34 million, Kevin finally whispered. The Riverside Plaza? Uncle Richard's voice was hoarse. That's the property we wanted for the warehouse project, the anchor property. Without it, our whole development plan falls apart. I tilted my head. Does it? That's unfortunate. You bought it out from under us. Dad's voice shook with rage or shock. I couldn't tell which. You knew we needed that property. I didn't know anything, I said calmly. You never told me about your warehouse project until tonight. I've been negotiating for the plaza for 4 months. It's not my fault you were too slow. The truth was, I had known about their project. Real estate is a small world, and I make it my business to know everything happening in my city. I'd also known the plaza was their linchpin property, and I'd outbid them by $2 million. This is revenge, Amanda said flatly. You're punishing us. No, I said, I'm doing business. You taught me that family and business should be separate, remember? Dad had said that to me when I asked for advice. Don't mix family and business, Sarah. It never works out. I opened the door and said, Enjoy your dinner. I have work to do. Sarah, wait, Mom started. Oh, and Mom, I paused. That studio apartment I mentioned, the one with broken heating where I ate ramen, I bought the entire building last year. It's worth $6.2 million now. I fixed the heating. You should see it sometime. I walked to my car, my hands steady, my heart racing. Behind me, I heard shouting, Dad's angry voice, Amanda crying, Uncle Richard on the phone, probably calling his business partners with the bad news. As I pulled out of the driveway, my phone buzzed. Kevin, that was messed up. I deleted it. Amanda, you've changed. Money has made you cruel. Delete. Then one more message from Mom. I'm sorry we weren't there for your graduation. I'm sorry for everything. You deserve better from us. I sat in my car staring at those words. The apology I had wanted 8 months ago. The acknowledgement I craved. But it had come too late and for the wrong reasons. I typed back, "Thank you, but sorry isn't enough anymore. If you want to be part of my life, you'll have to earn it, just like I had to earn everything else." Then I drove away from my childhood home toward my $2.8 million penthouse with floor-to-ceiling windows and city views that stretched for miles. I'd built an empire while they weren't watching, and now they'd have to live with the consequences of their absence. The girl who walked across that graduation stage alone had become a woman who didn't need their validation anymore. She just needed them to finally see her. And now, finally, they did.